Hello, Thomas Orths, Nonviolent TV. I'm here in Frankfurt Airport. I've chosen this quiet corner. Hopefully we don't have any announcements through the speakers. This is a little group. It's a nice culture of 4 people sitting, reflecting, thinking, hopefully also talking to each other. And that is a perfect metaphor for the project team building workshop I did yesterday in another part of Europe. And what was interesting is it was a small team. We did some interviews before and we found out critical issues that the team had around suspicion, lack of trust, breakdown of communication, different rivalries between the team, the project manager, and some main responsible guys. So we only had, unfortunately, 1 day. If I work with project teams, I would love to have 2 or 3 days so we can really make an impact. But we go sometimes with the client's need and demand. There was only 1 day, so I've got the philosophy, yes, we can do it, so we went in. What can you do in a day? Well, if you choose the right tools and combine them, maybe more than you think. So for this, we had a team diagnosis, one of my most favorite tools. It's a self-questionnaire, self-assessment, and very quickly, out of 12 success factors, you can spot the ones that are most relevant. It is based on an assessment of questions, and very quickly 4 issues came up. Unclarity around roles, responsibility, lack of trust, lack of respect, lack of fun in the process. Also, internal communication needed to be improved. That was also up in the ranking. So let's take those 4 or 5. Unclarity, lack of trust, respect, communication breakdown, and there you have it. So, and of course no fun as a consequence. So we introduced 2 models as a toolbox for them to use beyond the workshop. One was the Johari window. I think you've heard me talking about this before in a previous workshop. 2 axes there: openness, feedback. The more open you are, the more secrets you share, the more vulnerable you become, but also you build trust. So be open and trust that this openness is valued by the others. The other axis, feedback. The more feedback you give, the more feedback you ask for, you will discover your blind spots, and therefore they will be eliminated through the discussion. So that's one model that I introduced, and if you use both axes, it can help a lot in team building. The other one, especially for this group, because of lack of respect, trust, suspicion, and conflicts within the team players, I've chosen one of my favorite materials. It's Nonviolent Communication from Marshall Rosenberg. Beautiful material. He uses this around the world. He goes into difficult war zones even, where tribes kill each other. And he goes in there and builds communication bridges where everything else has failed. Phenomenal. Anyway, this was a different landscape, but I thought it would help the group. So I introduced it. We practiced a little bit. We split them up in smaller groups, and then they had to practice nonviolent communication, and also with the Johari window in mind. And interesting with the nonviolent communication, just as a short snapshot, you communicate on 4 dimensions, on 4 levels. What do I observe? What do I feel because of my observations? What is my need that I have, that I want to express based on my observations and feelings? What need? And what is my request? And it's important that it's formulated as a request, not as a demand. And that is the 4-dimensional communication. And important is that the other person really listens without interrupting. So we had those little practice sessions, we split them into smaller groups, and then they had to pick the issues in their head, formulate them in observations, feelings, needs, requests. And over a 2-hour period, the atmosphere in those subgroups really changed, really improved. We mixed the groups again, we did some more practice. It was beautiful to watch. In the beginning it was difficult, and very quickly the group started to gel with the material, and it was marvelous. So that's just one illustration. When we work with a group, we come in and we try to give tools that you can use the next day, the next week, the next month to tackle issues. So it's like helping others to help themselves, enabling. And it was really interesting to see how this worked, and the group was very grateful, and the day was very short for them, and now they are on their own, hopefully practicing it, And maybe it's also interesting for you. Look around in your company. How many teams are there? Are they functional, dysfunctional? Is there communication breakdown? Is there lack of trust? What are you going to do about this? One could say, well, why do we need a facilitator? We take those two models, there it is. What's interesting, of course, is to realize the pre-frame of this. We started at 8:30. Johari window was introduced by 10 and then practiced until 11. Nonviolent communication kicked in the afternoon by 2. So don't underestimate the work that we do as facilitators to get the buy-in, to connect, to show them the benefits before we even go into those delicate discussions. And also when there's an external in the room, some people behave differently. And that's the power that we have. So hopefully this is a little bit educational, maybe inspiring. Hopefully you engage with us and ask us for support. And if not, hopefully it helps you. Have a good evening. And when I say we, I mean we and my 45 plus associates around the globe. We are there to help, maybe within your region. Have a look and engage. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.